a deliberate turning away, playing deaf and dumb so as to avoid the brilliant light of reality. Possession brings no pleasure to the hungry ghost, only searching and grasping matter, so there is a sense of endless frustration and disappointment, even though one is surrounded by food and wealth. The animal...
Am I live? Can anybody tell me if I'm back streaming? Wow, well that was unexpected. I was just cruising along and it just dropped me. Yeah, that's very disappointing. I finally had some viewers too. Gosh, dang it. I can't win for losing. Just kidding. I'm going to put more wood on the fire now that I'm back live again. Well, how disappointing that we had that malfunction, guys. Very sad. Some sort of glitch in the matrix. It was a complete disconnect, though. It wasn't like drop frames or some sort of like lag. It just like disconnected me from YouTube. Well, we got to have a lot of visitors anyway. before we lost them all. Who knows? Maybe they'll be bored on a Saturday night and they'll all come back. That was nice. Nice crowd, though. Nice crowd of regulars to say hi to everybody. That was cool. At least we had that going. I wonder if it stitches it all together, because I connected to the same link, I think. The same stream link. No, it wasn't you. Believe me, it flashes a big red thing in my face if that happens. So the studio's pretty decent software. It was a glitch in the internet connection. It had to have been. I went running in to check the power to make sure the bank hadn't failed. I didn't think it would fail this soon in the stream, but I'm actually going on 3 hours, 3 minutes. I wonder how long I did the first one. I think it was over almost 2. But anyway, I went running in the cabin to check the power. I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? But, I mean, the Starlink works 99.999% of the time, so. Yeah, because I had to restart the stream. It wouldn't reconnect, for some reason, to the same, linked show, the same stream. And so I'm hoping it just adds this on the end of it. I'm hoping it doesn't replace the rest of the stream. I think it just starts from where the stream left off. And then it stitches it all together for people watching the replay. I hope. I don't know. I just tagged the same link back again and restarted the stream. That'd be a shame if we lost all the earlier part of the stream. It was still there a second ago. Like when I just was checking to see if I was live, it was still playing the old stream. I just hope it doesn't ditch it and replace it with this. We'll see. Technical difficulties. It was a good stream. I'll just have to redo the content next week anyway, so that's fine. But we're gonna have great content all summer. We got an interview eventually with Buddhist priest. That'll be fun. I know he's an interesting guy. He does interesting music. He's got an interesting story. Master's degree in Buddhist studies. So he's got all kind of interesting stuff to talk about with him. So that'll be a good show. And so yeah, we got once we get past the 49 days of prayer and rites for Bruno, we'll be able to do. One of the things I've been trying to emphasize in our lives up here, because I got 2 other boys, guys. So yes, I'm tragically, desperately shattered over the loss of my puppy, but I've got 2 others up here that have to, and they only sort of understand, you know what I mean, all of this. So and they need a normalcy that doesn't include, like, walking around with ashes on your forehead and weeping and gnashing of teeth. That sort of thing is they've got enough to deal with, right? So yeah, it was a great show. I hope we didn't lose it. I hope I didn't lose, like, the first part of the show by reconnecting to the same stream. I guess we'll find out soon enough. It's not even dark yet, guys, and like it's time. Like, we're already, I think, going into overtime. If the old part of the stream survived, then we're in overtime, I believe. And it's still kind of somewhat light out up here. Still a speck of light. How'd I do with my fire? Any comments on my fire? Comments from the peanut gallery? Do I do a good fire, guys? Said it before, I'll say it again. Bruno would love it. He'd be all up in the mix, man. All you'd see is that his big, beautiful white self just running around me in circles all night long. Thank goodness we got shows, so many good shows with him on it. Well, that's just a shame that we threw everybody so unceremoniously out the door. Yeah, it's going alright. It's going good. I haven't even started digging into the good fuel. I'm just using the scraps up. Then I'll hit the good pile in a minute. Oh, we got 2 viewers back. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. If you're one of the people we just disconnected, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what happened. I don't know if it was Starlink's fault, YouTube's fault. Somebody disconnected me. I did not run out of power, which is what I thought. But something happened. I swear it wasn't my fault. And I reconnected as soon as I could. Got my Yeti full of Colombian boys, gals. Well, give one last plug for Shelly. Our friend Shelly, go over, I guess, and see Dr. Rob's show after this one. He usually comes on sometime within an hour or 2 after I stream. You usually see Dr. Rob appear. It'll be morning where he's at in Vietnam. And then I guess Shelly going to be on the show, which should be fun. Should be a lot of fun. Dr. Rob's streams are great. I've actually been watching a bunch of Dr. Rob streams. As sort of hardcore as some of his content is, I found it actually pretty. There's Shelly. Hey. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was either Starlink or YouTube or whatever. Something, the stream just ended. And I got a big red warning saying that had happened, and I was like, no. and so I reconnected. I'm actually sitting here hoping though that I didn't lose the whole earlier show, which means I got to redo all my content. Everybody came late this week anyway, so I mean, if I got to redo the content, I don't care. But I reconnected to the same link, so I have no idea what happens when you do that. I'll find out after the show. But at least I got it going again. I mean, Streamlabs tried to reconnect, the software did, but it just wouldn't let it, so I just had to finally drop everything and restart it. What do you think of my fire, Shelly? Thank you. Wow, that was like so fast that I know that we crossed in the night on that one. There's way too much lag to account for that. That literally appeared like a half a second after I asked you it. That's wild. That's great. That's great stuff. Yeah, we got plenty of fuel tonight, so guys, so we can sit around and talk. If anybody got anything they want to say about anything at all, any questions. We had one fellow here earlier asking about the Hermitage being open again, and yes, it is. We literally opened it within hours of Bruno passing. Reopened it. Even started making plans for this show, this podcast, to start it up again, live from the Hermitage. So we're back, but we need, once again, just to not, harp on it, but there's a link in the description to Bruno's Memorial Fund, and we need to make this happen. Everybody who watches on the replay, if you make it to this point in the stream, think long and hard. We really need to keep this place open. This is a treasure. This whole place is a treasure for the whole Sangha. And it's not just us. And you may, you'd be surprised how badly you might want to come here someday. And it's a cheap date. We need to raise $150 this weekend to pay a whole bunch of, a whole big important bill, actually, one important bill. And that's nothing. I mean, I know people that spend that much in a weekend on DoorDash, so surely we can make that happen for Bruno and for his brothers and for the whole Sangha, really, who benefits from having, especially in the United States right now, we've got millions of Buddhists, and in the Bay Area, we've got 20% of all the Buddhists in the country, right, in the Bay Area of California. So, and we're not far from the Bay. So, I mean, this is a resource. Shelley says not much. Not much lag, or I love you guys, by the way. I always try to follow the chat, so if you're coming back from the stream drop, say hi again. We'll get a Buddhist priest interview, guys, going sometime. I guarantee before June I'll get the Buddhist priest interview done. But he's an interesting fellow and makes some really incredible music and has a really great story. I mean, he's got a master's degree in Buddhist studies. That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty impressive. Well, that's okay, Shelley. Join the club. This whole place is about poor people building a retreat center for poor people. and the lot that sounds cool on when you read it off the paper, right? But in execution, it's actually much easier to get rich people to build stuff for poor people. But unfortunately, the rich people I know have declined to help. And I guess this is something that I've struggled, the resentment of that, with constantly. I mean, that's actually a big part of what I work on in my practice, is not resenting the 1% or even the 5% who really should be like writing me checks for this place, like, and they were at first. I mean, we had some few like rich people who were sponsoring us, and that worked out for a hot minute, until they get upset about something, or they get bored or whatever, right? And then no, 150, and that pays for what that's gonna. I'll just be transparent why I need 150. I'll be 100% transparent, guys. Here's on the video. Go to www.dharmawheelhermitage.org. So if you're watching this video on replay or on live, this is what the bill's for. And that is our email list, our email server, our web server, and all that you see there. And I think it's an essential tool of the Hermitage. We pay once a year, and it costs $150, and we're about 2 months in arrear, which means they might have pulled the plug tonight. That site might not even be there. Somebody can report back to me in the chat if the site's even still there, because that's how tenuous things are, guys. They're going to pull the plug any second on that website. And so, yeah, and now we've managed to budget a lot of other bills. We actually came up with a budget that has us, after we pay that bill, we're more or less free or clear for about a month, maybe two. And we'll still be fundraising for the next month and the next month and the next month. We can't seem to get more than a month or two ahead, but we'll be a little bit ahead, enough where there'll be some breathing room. And but the total cost to, Shelly, just so you know, to keep this Hermitage open and to feed me and the boys is about $300. I mean, if we minimize and we optimize and we pay only for what we absolutely need, it's about $300 a month for 2 gorgeous acres. Tara's Grove, which is really starting to get built now already. We're working on it. Going to be a beautiful shrine to Green Tara eventually up there. So yeah, all of this, we get 2 acres, and the note itself, like I paid on credit, right? So there's a note, it's a 20-year note too, but it was only 5,000 to begin with, 5,000 USD to begin with, and we've got it down to 47 now. So I mean, that's super cheap for really gorgeous land with lots and lots of juniper trees, nice juniper trees on it. I mean, yeah, you can get scrub brush up here for like, a few thousand an acre, right? But, to get a beautiful piece like this for 5,000, it's stunning. It's just stunning. And we've had so many signs and wonders here that we know this is the right place spiritually too, as well. And it's super off-grid. We barely have a road up here, if you call it that. It's a road in the summertime. In the wintertime, it's, you walk in. But yeah, the total cost for the whole Hermitage per month even is $300. And that pays for the Starlink, mobile, the mortgage, which is only $60 a month, 65 I think I pay a month. And that pays for my taxes, my property owners association fee, and my mortgage, all for $65 a month USD. I mean, you can't rent a storage unit in the cities for that much. So yeah, it's a super cheap date. And I really expected when I came up here that my content creation and doing e-begging, because that's what Buddhists do. One of the things, guys, if you're new to this concept of the Dharma Wheel Hermitage, let me explain that we're trying to build this completely out of the begging bowl. That's the point. I don't have an inheritance. I don't have savings. I don't have, apparently, anymore. I mean, I did at the beginning, but I don't have any big rich sponsors, right? I've got the begging bowl. And so, yeah, I use my channels to e-beg and to ask you to please help us. And that's what we rely on. We rely on pure karma to do this. And that's how I want this place to be built, no matter how much it ends up costing, which I think it's like less than a 10 grand date when it's all said and done. And then I'm going to donate this place, guys. I'm not even going to keep it because I want the monk's robes. I'm going in the opposite direction of Dr. Rob. I want the robes, right? And so, and I'm going to get them. I'm going to find a monk who will come here and ordain me right here on this property. And then I'm going to die here and in the robes. And when I do that, you can't own private property. I'm going to donate this to a Sangha. I don't know exactly which one yet. Probably the ones who give me the robes, to be honest with you. Not out of like bribery, but gratitude. But and so that's the plan. This place is for the Sangha, and it's open now. I mean, especially if you're able-bodied and you can work, you can come here right now with your tent and some food. We can accommodate one vehicle, possibly a small RV, definitely tents. And you can see for yourself. I mean, see this place for yourself, and you can do a little work on the place in exchange for your stay, you know. And we're going to always be free. We're going to always be donation free. Thank you, Shelly. The site is still. Shelly says the site is still up and running for a moment. But that's the big push for 150 this weekend. If you're watching on the replay, that's complete transparency. That's what we need it for. And with that bill paid, we will have a little bit of breathing space, at least enough to get through Bruno's passing rights, which will take another 2 weeks of content showing you guys how you do the 49 days of mourning or funerary rites in Vajrayana Buddhism. And it will take us beyond that. It will take us into the summer. And we'll just got to keep going, though. But it's not like it's a huge amount. You know, I was inspired, guys, to do this Hermitage by two monks who live in St. Mark's Church in Seattle. Two Theravada monks. And they put up a website. They moved into the church there because they had nowhere else to live in Seattle. And St. Mark's took them in. And they put up a website called Clear Mountain Monastery Project. And they called themselves an aspirational monastery. We're a monastery that doesn't exist yet, but we really want to exist. I'm not even kidding. And that inspired me. I was like, well, I had already been really, really playing with the idea of a hermitage. But I was like, well, I'll just register, dharmawheelhermitage.org right now. And we registered this while we were still homeless down in the Bay Area on the streets, guys. We registered that domain and put up a website that was a lot of the ideas were copied from them. I was like, we're an aspirational hermitage. We don't exist yet, but we really want to. Please kick in, some dough so that we can go get some property and become real. And you guys all know, probably a lot of you know, the long and short of that story is here we are. It happened. We raised, I think, like a total of close to $5,000 over a course of a couple of seasons. Actually, it took us a summer and a fall, and we were able to come up here well equipped and pay for the property and be up here. And so, yeah, we probably got like maybe 5,000 right now so far in this place with the homesteading camp and with property payments so far. And I was very happy definitely very heartened to hear that the Clear Mountain Monastery had scored their land, guys. They're going to build Clear Mountain Monastery, and it's gorgeous. It's somewhere between Seattle and Suravasti Abbey, which is a Vajrayana abbey on the outside of Spokane. And they scored it, and guess what they paid for the land, guys? $4.9 million. So that means that people somewhere in the world donated a total they were at it for a couple of years. They were fundraising for a couple of years, to be honest, to get that much. They raised 4.9. Two Theravada monks living in the basement of St. Mark's. doing YouTube videos and a website. Raised $4.9 million to build Clear Mountain Monastery. You can look this stuff up. Go look at their website. I bet it's like clearmountainmonastery.org or something like that. Something close to it anyway. They were my inspiration, guys, for doing this. They succeeded after us, but they succeeded with a kind of resounding success that is kind of just makes you, can't help but make you feel a little bit almost jealous. It's like, wow, and they're young monks too. These are young monks that did this. Really young monks, like in their 20s, I think, 30s at most. Very proud of them for doing it. But they gave me the idea of being an aspirational institution until I got the money to become a real one. But that gives you an idea of how cheap a date this place is. And it could become legendary, guys. This place is filled with power, filled with strength. This could be a legendary, not just any hermitage and retreat center, but just truly an epic one. Epic, in a way that Land of Medicine Buddha can't even imagine, with their 8 giant prayer wheels and their spa and their pool. This place is going to be a place where you will meet the Buddha. You'll meet Green Tara up here on this hillside, and that's that's the kind of experiences that we could change a lot of lives just by presenting a space where people can come to have that experience. And doing it without the consideration of money, without consideration of, oh, I've got a dog and I've got I can't afford $100 a day for a dog sitter. No, you bring your dog with you. Oh, I'm a content creator. I can't afford to not do my content if I went to a place like that. Well, no problem. I'll look at your channel, make sure you're kosher, and then you can come do your content. We'll have internet and electricity for you when you get here. I want it to be casual like that. I want people to be able to come here and concentrate on one thing, and that's their practice. And by not having so many rules to concentrate on, hopefully that becomes easier. And certainly not having money be an issue. I mean, if you're wealthy, I'm sure you're going to leave a donation. There'll be a donation box in the prayer hall. We have Cash App. So, I mean, if you come here and visit and you're wealthy. But, I mean, it's going to be a place where people can come and not worry about that. If you can just get here, because it's pretty off the grid, guys. It'll be an adventure finding this place. Trust me, you would have the adventure of a lifetime trying to find this place. When you get here, GPS works. We'll send you the GPS link, but you're still gonna have fun. Fun with an excited twist on the end. Kind of fun, like not fun like a birthday party, but more fun like jumping out of an airplane kind of thing. You'll come to the U.S. Everybody comes to the U.S. Come on, we're the U.S. We may be shitty right now. We may have shittified the place a little bit, but everybody, you'll come. And I know you'll come here. Dr. Rob's feet ever touch this soil again, he dang well better get his ass here or he'll get kidnapped. I got people that'll do that for me. I just have him snatched. Body snatched right off his live stream. These Guy Fawkes masked dudes come running on the set and just grab him. Alright, gotta put a little bit more fuel on the fire, guys. Vietnam is closer than Australia. I know, and it's cooler too, probably, in a lot of ways. I mean, all the Buddhist temples, right? Come on. Oh, and I got light too. Hopefully this ends up working. Am I in the money? I'm in the money. No one can see me. Sayada visits U.S. as well, and I might be tagging along. That's the monk, right? That I know who that is from the Dr. Rob world. He's the guy that Dr. Rob called some lady that works for him. She was going to come here and make me a monk and pay for the hermitage and everything. I think, if I'm not mistaken. He seems like a very enlightened teacher, from what I can tell. My biggest question is, why are his videos so low resolution? I mean, literally like these grainy videos that look like they're shot on phones from the 1980s. I mean, that's my one question, is maybe they can use a content creator person to work for them. I mean, I could help them with that problem. Even remotely, without even going there, I could help them through Zoom training sessions or whatever. And they clearly have enough money for a little bit of decent streaming equipment. I mean, he should be able to, I don't know, have people that do that better than that for him. I don't know. But I follow his channel. But like I said, the quality, too bad. The teachings are top notch, and sometimes you can barely see him. And I like to see his face. Part of watching him that makes me so peaceful and makes me absorb the stuff he's saying is that he's so quiet, and he's just got this demeanor about him that's, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to judge a man being an arahat. I think that's dangerous territory, but he definitely acts arahat-like. You know what I mean? I know. Why though? My question, Shelley, is not, I know that's what's going on. I watch his videos too, as much as I can. I get it. But why? Like, I don't know. Like, I could Zoom with them, and I think give them a pep talk and some technical advice and stuff like that, and really tool that up for him. Because the teachings are deserving of it. I mean, and especially if you like started concentrating on a Western audience more, like as far as how you publish the streams and whatnot, like maybe get on some other social media and stuff like that, really start viralizing it here in the West. I think that, especially if they keep up with the translations, have like closed captions and stuff like that. I think we're the West, especially in the United States lately, is very hungry for authentic teachers, and it's not easy to find. I mean, there's some in New York and Colorado and Sarasti Abbey up in Washington, but I mean, if you really want a spectacular, like so obviously enlightened teacher that you're just gobsmacked when you listen to him, I mean, you got to go to Arizona and see Garshan Rinpoche. I mean, that's what we got here in the States. That's I think it's wonderful. I think it's a good sign too for Vietnam that they've got that going on. Like, I've heard just incredible news stories in Buddhism about Vietnam lately, where they just crossed the line where Buddhism became the majority religion again after 40 years of not being. A lot going on there, and that's wonderful. So he's got his motorbike. Why is not Dr. Rob taking us to all the monasteries now? Like, he should literally do like the tour of peace on his motorbike and go to all the monasteries. Somebody should sponsor him, his gas or whatever he needs to do that, and get his motivation to do it, and go like to get a little backpack. Come on, man. Nobody would bother you, not in Vietnam. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Shelley, that's great. I mean, they're just starting out. I'm not like criticizing at all. I'm just like gobsmacked by his teachings, and like it's just it's funny that I could tell that it was literally on like old phones. I mean, I'm a tech guy, so. But yeah, no, he's doing wonderful stuff. The sort of Rob was thinking about hooking me up with him, and maybe they would pay for help fund the place, or at least give me some grants, and then I would take the ropes from them. But the thing is, it's really a problem, and the problem is it's just not the school of Buddhism that I'm in. I'm definitely a Vajrayana Buddhist. I mean, there's no turning back from that, unfortunately for me. So, I've tried to wrap my mind around how that might work, but I just don't. Maybe if I talked with him personally, there would be some advice that he could give about that. But other than that, yeah, Dr. Rob had his own pace and way of doing things and is going through another transition. I've been watching Dr. Rob. I hate to say it, but I was a lurker, but I was a fan of Dr. Rob's way before he put down the robes. I started following him because he was a streaming monk, and I wanted to be a monk. I wanted to be a streaming monk. And literally that's pretty much the only reason I searched him up and followed him. And then just really kind of, I fell in love with him as a content creator. I mean, he was great when he was a monk. He was great when he was, now that he's not a monk and he's doing different things, he's still great. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm an OG Dr. Rob fan. I've just only recently raised my head in his crowd. Though, to be honest with you, because his crowd is scary. So, I mean, yourself notwithstanding, his crowd is kind of like, yeah, it is what it is, right? I dive in and take my licks from time to time. I'll be around tonight when you go on. I want to see you on, so I'll kind of be working and watching him. See if I can catch his stream. Well, we got some of our audience back. I'm sorry the stream broke. The first part was great and audience free. The second part had audience and we dropped the ball. I have heard, and Rob has hinted that he is open-minded. I actually believe in using all three. I love Venerable Tarpa's approach, which is to use all three. I mean, not to take a completely universalist approach, to still call myself a Vajrayana Buddhist, but I'm a Vajrayana Buddhist who has absolutely zero problem with all the Mahayana and all the Theravada. And uses all to any advantage that gets me, further down the path, right? So, I've got some people that see that approach as the way to do it. They're actually building, Shelley, they have the most greatest project going on. They have a couple of monasteries. One of them's in Italy, but it does something different. But it's all part of a project. I'll have to link this, guys, and find a link to it. But it's part of a project to connect monastics with people who need teachers. And to help them with resources if they want to live stream or if they want to go on YouTube and whatever. And so this organization, that's kind of the umbrella. And they have one monastery they've sponsored in Italy, but it's kind of got a different movie. I think it's Thai Forest. I'm not really sure. But the one that they're doing in, I think it's New Jersey, but they bought an abbey, a Catholic abbey. This place is huge, like with many big buildings and everything. I mean, it's like, wow. And it's just breathtaking place. They bought this old Catholic abbey, and they're going to attempt to do the same thing, to have monastics there that will be wanting to reach out to the lay people and work with them. And they're going to facilitate that in this monastery. But check this out. They're going to have all three schools in the same monastery. Eventually. Right now they only have, I think, Theravada and Mahayana. But eventually they want to have all three schools, men and women, but in separate, because this place is huge. They can each have their own giant buildings. You know what I mean? But, and it's in New Jersey. And somehow they raised just a crap ton of money, too, because that place had to cost millions upon millions of dollars. And they got very lucky, and they got it. And right now, it's funny because they're living in this giant Catholic place, and there's only a handful of them, right? So they've got these really expansive, you see these videos where they're sitting in these very expansive, like, places, and they're all by themselves. It's funny. But they're getting it. They're doing the project. They got the place, and that's their plan going forward, is to have all three schools, monastics, both men and women. No, I believe it's LGBT friendly as well, like in that sense, and and it looks like a really, really cool project. I've sent it to a bunch of people, a bunch of different folks I know that I've talked about that project with. But I'll have to do a show on that at some point. I'll get the info and do a show on it and show what they're doing. But there's some people out there doing great stuff. I mean, you got Clear Mountain kicking it off up there in right on the Canadian border in Washington. You got obviously you've got Darshan Rinpoche just continues to rock it out on top of that mountain in Arizona. I mean, he's got the beautiful spread up there. There's I think it's a time to be positive. I know a lot of lamas and a lot of Buddhist teachers who are very glum about things and very dire, and it's the apocalypse, it's the end of the world, and Buddhism is declining, and there are no saints or arahats anymore. Guess what, guys? I saw a video the other day by a lama who said there's no arahats anymore. Well, let me tell you something about arahats. I'm not an arahat. Okay, I might never be an arahat. Not in this lifetime. Okay, guys, stop. Dan, you gotta stop, hon. Xanda, be good and stay here. But I saw this, this video by this lama the other day, and he was talking about how there's no arahats. And he had this Theravada monk on, they're all yucking it up. They're modern times, nobody's an arahat. Let me tell you something. There are arahats and bodhisattvas everywhere. Everywhere. More now than there's ever been in the world. But you're never going to see them. And you know why? Because they're not on YouTube. They're not on X. They don't have a website. They don't charge $50 an hour for Zoom calls to teach you meditation. The arahats and the saints and the bodhisattvas of this world, and they can be in regular life. They can be in lay life, guys. But they're invisible. They're invisible. They always were. It's just in times past, I mean, you can go to huge Theravada institutions, and I guarantee you walk around and you will meet arahats. So this idea that somehow the world is in a funk and Buddhism is on the decline and everything's going to shit, I don't subscribe to this, and I don't recommend people do. This is not the truth of the situation. I hear, and it's just, again, I watch a lot of lamas and teachers, but this is one teacher that teaches a lot of stuff about how, that the world is in some calamitous state. This idea that the world has come to some big precipice. It's the end of the world. No, it's not, guys. Let me tell you something. Read history and study Genghis Khan. And then you come back and you tell me, you really meditate, really contemplate on what those people's lives were like during times like that. Whole nations just literally slaughtered, obliterated from existence. Written out of history even. And the Black Death that killed 1/3 of the European population in a matter of years. We live in times so much cooler and better and freer and more peaceful than that it's like there's no comparison. There's just no comparison. And yeah, you can filter. You can decide that you're going to doom scroll into the middle of the night on, mega propaganda or liberal propaganda or somebody's propaganda and get all worked up and all, into your little thing, right? But the fact of the matter is that the world has always been shitty, guys. It will always be shitty. It's shitty in different ways than it was 1,000 years ago, but it's still shitty. And I given the choice, being a modern human being, I'll take our shitty over Genghis Khan's shitty any day of the week. Because I can still go down to Starbucks and get a latte and soothe my soul, right? So, I mean, don't believe the naysayers, guys. Don't believe the dooms people in Buddhism. And there's not just one teacher I'm thinking about when I say this. There's a few whose whole shtick is doom and gloom, and you know, that's not what I see when I look around. You know, according to the most expert predictions in sociology right now, Buddhism is on the increase in the United States and will continue to increase for at least 5 more years. And that's what I see going on also around me. I see more and more people inquiring. I see more and more. And the Internet Sangha, guys, the whole idea, the whole concept, the very frameworks and necessary infrastructure for Internet Sangha is only now starting to really put rubber to the road, guys. We are in a great period of time. And I think that Buddhist teachers who start from this doom and gloom, who quote prophecies and try to calculate when Buddhists said Buddhism is going to end and all that, you're never going to figure that shit out, guys. Prophecies are not meant to be figured out ahead of time. They're there to spiritually guide you, and then you realize the prophecy has been fulfilled afterwards. You know, you're not supposed to sit there and try to figure out when Buddhism is going to end. That's not what Buddha was getting at. He was getting at impermanence. He was making a lesson about impermanence, not trying to tell you to sit down with a calendar and figure out how many kalpas are left in the age of Buddhism. I think these types of approaches to Mahayana and the prophecies in Mahayana and Vajrayana, I think they taint these people's world's view. First of all, make them more pessimistic about the situation all the way around than they have to be. And I think a more realistic view is that Buddhism is growing. We're using technology, which in many, many ways is wonderful, to create a whole new way, a virtual way of doing Sangha, where we can have Shall We Be Free from Australia hanging out and being with us on a spiritual night here at the Hermitage. You know, this is I'll take this age over and the troubles of this age, and that's not to minimize the troubles of this age. I get it, climate change, war, you know, the world still sucks. Like I said, it sucks in a different way, but it's always sucks. And if all you worry about is how much the world sucks, if all you concentrate on is solving one problem after another, and you don't take time for inspiration, you don't take spiritual space, and you obsess about these things. I'm thinking about one teacher who's so obsessed with Donald Trump. He just came out with a video a couple of days ago about Donald Trump again, and he's a Buddhist teacher. I don't think that stuff belongs on that. I don't sign up for a Dharma channel to get talked about stuff like that. If I want stuff like that, I'll go watch Timcast. Okay? And I think that Dharma teachers should stay away from politics. I think they should stay away from innovation, politics, all of that nonsense. Stay away from certainly abusing their students, and they should just teach, and that's it. That's why you sign up. That's why you follow the channels. That's what people want for their money. And I think, you know, let people figure out their own politics, because there's no profit in that, and there's no possible way to put a dharmic spin on world situations or politics or any of that. Wow, I still got viewers. Somebody likes what I'm talking about. I'm going to put some more wood on the fire then, guys. We'll just keep streaming. Make up for the drop stream. So, guys, any comments or critiques of my rant? Go ahead and let me have it in the chat. Tell me how wrong I am. Yeah, people do whine too much. People do whine too much. You look at Padmasambhava, he lived off nothing but magic mushrooms in a cave, like, and drew these cakey old dreads, man. You know, can you imagine if Padmasambhava, guys, was here in the Bay Area right now? He'd be just another wingnut. People would definitely chalk it up to drugs. They'd be right and wrong. It wouldn't be the drugs they think. But can you imagine? I mean, can you just imagine? He would just fit right in, first of all. I mean, because he was a far out dude, you know, with like these big long dreads and the whole bit, right? But and people would just chalk it up to him being just yet another wingnut on the streets. I mean, nobody would even pay him the time of day. But so, you know, I mean, I think there's arhats everywhere, and there's saints everywhere. I think even animals can be, you know, spirits from another realm that we don't even understand. And hey, guys, how about this? You know, since we're here doing the late night, man, how about the UFO thing, guys? This stuff's getting serious. I believe that Rubio is over there at the Vatican right now, guys. I don't know if you know that. Secretary of State is over visiting the Vatican. He's talking to the Pope. And a lot of people think they sent him over there to, like, sort of smooth over the whole, you know, blow up between Trump and the Pope. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think he's over there briefing them on the coming disclosure. And here's what I believe, and a lot of YouTubers and influencers and content creators have agreed with me in the past week. But here's what I think is going to happen, guys. It's going to be quite a shakeup in the way people view the world, because there are extraterrestrial life here. Their technology is here. They're here. But check it out. They don't come from another planet or another galaxy. These things come from another dimension. That's what they're getting ready to release, and they know this. And they're going to release it. And yes, they're flying around in flying saucers and the whole dang bit. That's all real. And they've crashed, and they've recovered. And these things are biological, these creatures. But they're not from outer space. And that's wild. That's really, really trippy. And they're going to make claims. These aliens themselves have made claims to have a certain amount of responsibility for our very existence on this planet. And that's what's going to be released. That's what I've been hearing. That's what I've been, you know, picking up from my own, like, radar and my own antenna. And I'm ready to call it. I think that when it does finally come out, and that's why they didn't want to release it. It had nothing to do with national security. Oh, they did want to reverse the technology, reverse engineer it, but they never managed to succeed. This stuff is extra dimensional. There's no way that human beings can ever understand it. And I don't believe they've gotten any of it to actually work. But they are going to release the origin of these beings, which is going to be taken all different kind of ways. Guys, think about the born-again Christians here in the United States. And they've been contacted by senators and by government officials, some of the Christian groups, to prepare their congregations for this. Because you know what their spin's going to be on this. And some of these beings are supposed to be reptilian. So come on, guys. As if a Pentecostal in Alabama isn't going to go straight to the word demon without even passing go and collecting $200. They're going straight to demon with that, right? I mean, I believe that, you know, I've heard a bunch of Buddhist teachers speak out on this since it reached this boiling point within the last week or so. And the one that really, I don't know who said this, but it was a Buddhist teacher who said essentially Buddhists need to just relax because we have literally the best possible view without changing anything that Buddhists believe. We have the best possible religious view to be able to accept this and have this happen. And I think that's what you're going to see. I think Buddhists are going to be the most prepared for this. That this is going to be the least shocking to Buddhists, is my belief. I think the Christians, I think some of your Christian friends are going to need your help. I think you're going to have to be there, fair and square, for some of your Christian friends, because I'm not sure how they're going to manage to cope with what's about to be revealed. But that's what I believe is about to be disclosed. Hegsworth released even just this week another big tranche, and they even started edging up in that tranche, talking about some of the exotic materials that they've gathered. And yeah, I don't know what happened at Roswell. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but they have recovered. They've recovered craft, and they've recovered, biological evidence, but also evidence that these things are not the biologicals. One of the things too is that they're not even coming a lot of the times themselves. A lot of the aliens that people think, like the Greys and stuff, are going to turn out to be much more cyborg inside than, yes, they're biological, at least on the outside, but they're going to be mostly machines on the inside. They've automated a lot of their interaction with us, which is why so many of these craft have crashed. It's just as Garausch said when he testified in front of Congress, it's really just a matter of numbers. People ask, well, how are these people so brilliant, so bright that they got here from somewhere else, and yet they're crashing all the time? And he's like, well, they didn't crash that much. And he's like, and it's a matter of the number of sorties that they fly. You're talking about tens of thousands of potential sorties that they've flown just in the last, maybe 50 years. Some of them are bound to go wrong. Right? Something's bound to go wrong. So, but yeah, I think it's going to get released. I think, Trump knows about this. I think he's dug into it. I think Hegsworth and the vice president have diligently uncovered what's going on, and I think it's shocking. And I think they are concerned about how shocking it was, and I think that's a lot of what the classification was about. That, people said for years, when we thought they were from another planet, people said, well, the public's prepared. The public could deal with it. We've been watching Star Trek for decades. Come on. And that's true, right? We're pretty immune to the idea of aliens from another planet, right? But to then have dropped that, well, that's not what it is at all, and these things are coming from a fold in space. They're actually already here, right? They just live in like another dimension. And it's like, that's going to be a little bit more destabilizing, in my opinion. And I think now I understand more about why it was kept so incredibly secret and why they felt the need to. And I believe it was a little bit national security. They did hope to reverse engineer this stuff. I just don't think they succeeded. I think they might have got small stuff like fiber optics and Velcro from these things, but I think beyond that, I don't think they got much. They didn't get the drives or anything like that. In fact, when they try to turn these things on, people end up getting hurt, is what I've heard. I've heard there have been serious injuries from them trying to run this shit themselves, because they just don't know, have no clue how it works. It would be like humans handing a monkey an iPad and hoping that he would know how to, go check his email. So, but yeah, that's coming down the pike, guys, and I think it has religious implications. I go along with that teacher that I said earlier that said, Buddhists are uniquely prepared for this. I think he's right, and I feel okay about it. I think we're going to be all right, guys. But we may have to, watch out for our Christian friends who are melting down, and maybe reach out to them or something. They might not, They might not be dealing with us all that well, especially if these things just like show up. You know what I mean? I mean, what happens next after they reveal this to us? Do they start trotting these beings out? I mean, do they hold a news conference in the White House and this little wizard person comes walking out? I mean, what happens next, right? I mean, you know, the what I've also heard is that the government has been in contact with these things. They've been talking to these things. So it's not just that they know about them, but that they've been dealing with them or trying to. And so I think there's a lot to answer for there. You know what I mean? What sort of agreements have been made in our name would be my first question. You know, why are they here and what exactly do they want? I think that's a huge question, right? You're talking about a race of beings being here that has technology that's on an order of magnitude more powerful than anything we have, right? I mean, and works so based on physics we can't even possibly begin to understand because they're not even from this physical universe. That's crazy. That's like wild stuff, man. That's wild stuff. That's like sci-fi stuff, and that's that's literally what everybody with any knowledge of the game right now is saying is coming within, and not in a long time, within weeks. Like they're already gathering this stuff and trying to decide how they can spin it to like make the least amount of chaos when they release it, but they're gonna release it, and it's gonna make it. That's gonna be a big change in the world, a big change in the way people see the world, right? I mean, it makes you rethink everything from the DMT elves, the machine elves of DMT land, to you know, to elves and like fairies and stuff. I mean, how much of this stuff actually has some sort of basis in truth? Do we actually have, you know, fairies living in another dimension in Ireland and all of these legends and all of these stories which, you know, had to be completely just made up, right? I mean, that's what people would think, right? And then now there's like some truth to this. I mean, who knows how this changes how we've been looking at the world. And supposedly these beings are going to claim some responsibility for the world's religions, but not Buddhism, interestingly enough. But the Abrahamic religions, they're going to claim some influence in that thing, which is also very interesting. And then also they're going to claim that they had something to do with us even existing in our current form, mostly through genetics, like genetic manipulation. So it turns out that von Däniken, who's dead now, by the way, the guy who wrote Chariot of the Gods, but von Däniken was right the whole time. Right? I mean, that's just wow. You just scratch your head. Donald Trump's president, and von Däniken was right. You know what I mean? And maybe not right about everything, but he had the gist of it, you know. And so crazy times, guys. You know, we just had 3 men go up around the moon. They went out in space from Earth, the furthest that any people have ever been, because they took a really wide orbit, a really far orbit off the backside of the moon. So they ended up traveling further from the Earth than any human so far. That's pretty wild. So, interesting times. I mean, I don't think these times are dire or apocalyptic at all. I just think that it's really interesting. It's good stuff, man. I'm living to be old enough to see my own science fiction come true. And that's a trippy feeling. I mean, I'm good with that. I'm actually good with being old. I wouldn't trade being old for being young again for nothing, man. I'm sorry, but maybe if my health was worse, I'd think about it differently. But I'd much rather have the wisdom and achy bones than I would to be 20 again and not know any of this shit. Anyway, on that note, guys, I don't know. I'm going to close it out. I love you guys so much. Shall we be free? Buddhist priests were coming earlier. All the peeps that came by tonight. So much love for all of you guys. We'll do another show next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific. Live from the Hermitage. And yeah. So have a great week. I'm going to put out, I think, some content this week. I'm going to try really hard. I've got one particular thing I want to put out about relics. And so I'm going to try to put out a copy of the Dharma Bum show. Yeah, I'm going over to Dr. Rob to look for him. I got to change power packs around and get some food in me, but that's definitely what I usually do right after my stream. Shall we be free? Good luck tonight on the show. I know you're going to be smashing. You're going to be smashing, girl. Your Buddha is smashing. I wish I had a Buddha like that on this property. I'm going to get a Buddha like that someday on this property. I'm inspired by your Buddha to get a Buddha of my own for the Dharma Wheel Hermitage. But that's another day. That's a dream. Right now I dream to pay the bills. I love you so much. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you so much for the kind words, kindness, being here, Shelly. You're a queen. Love you all, guys, so much. We got a closing song, so, you know, it's always a good one. Again tonight on the theme of angelic and dogs and bodhisattva dogs. And the only other living bodhisattva dog that I knew of besides my own, which is Aloka. So, as I said, I was missing my Aloka song. So we're going to close with a cool song about Aloka. I'll see you guys next week, if not before, on the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. And, yeah. Good night.
Aloka walks beside the monks on dusty roads beneath the sky. A little heart upon his head, a gentle gift no gold can buy. From Kolkata's tender lanes to America's wide open breeze, he carries love in every step, a tiny pilgrim spreading peace. Aloka, the heart that walks for peace, a saffron glowing fur so sweet. Wherever he goes, compassion grows. Aloka walks and love flows free. Aloka, little monk of light, guide us all through day and night. Your gentle heart for all to see. Aloka walks for you and me. 112 days across India, he walked with monks through sun and rain. Now from Texas to Washington, 120 days again. His saffron coat like Buddha's robe, a symbol born from nature's art. But the truest robe he ever wears is the kindness shining from his heart. Aloka, the heart that walks for peace, a saffron glowing fur so sweet. Wherever he goes, compassion grows. Aloka walks and love flows free. Aloka, little monk of light, guide us all through day and night. Your gentle heart for all to see. Aloka walks for you and me. Look closely there upon his brow, a perfect heart so pure, so mild, as if the world itself declared, here walks love in the shape of a child. He teaches without any word, he leads without a single sound, just walking softly, step by step, placing peace upon the ground. Aloka, the heart that walks for peace, a saffron glowing fur so sweet. Wherever he goes, compassion grows. Aloka walks and love flows free. Aloka, little monk of light, guide us all through day and night. From Kolkata to the land of dreams, Aloka walks for you and me. Aloka. your journey never cease, where your paws touch the earth. May the world be blessed with